Testimonies from captured Viet Cong painted a picture of a woman who had earned her fearsome reputation, even among her comrades. Why us specifically? Hathcock asked. Intelligence suggests she lost family during an operation near Da Nang last year. Civilian casualties in a village suspected of harboring VC. Since then, she's focused almost exclusively on American forces,
Right.
particularly the 5th Regiment.
So I was like, fuck all that. Since I was there, I can speak. So she had hunted him, probably, I would think, um, a long time. But Jesus was in the position where he was at. He was doing reconnaissance, and he detected that something was dark and off, so he wouldn't communicate back. But um, I was there, so I went hand to hand combat with her in Portland. So um, that I really couldn't understand why we were actually going at it as soon as we met, but we did. Like what God's issue with her was, I didn't understand that wasn't given to me in a portfolio. Hey, she's done this to this dude. Hey, she's done this to this dude. Hey, she's done this to this dude. It was more like as soon as we met, it was kind of like, all right, bet, you know. Now we're in Ashland. What's good? I got my people over here. I got to like. The biggest thing wasn't, hey, I'm just gonna knock you out and fuck you up. It wasn't that. It was like there were rules to engagement and all that. It was kind of like how she's hitting and how she's hitting and how she's hitting. It was a reconnaissance of who her people were before we even got to Portland. I was scoping out how she actually moved, what she actually practiced, as how she kept herself safe, and what she actually utilized. So then I realized, okay, she's utilizing money from here. She's calling, she sticks to Craigslist. Uh, those are the people she calls up whenever she needs help. And we saw her a couple times. Like if she ever needed help, she calls. She puts herself right on Craigslist, and then tries to recruit men, right? So we already knew that she wasn't, and neither were any of these men, a part of Heaven's Army or anything that had to do with us. So we started noticing her patterns, and her patterns were repetitive. When you take it to a spiritual activity of what she continually did, it was simply she would walk. She's like a witch. Sit still, start looking around, and men would start walking up. So when I noticed that, I was like, all right, we're going to have to hit her from a different angle. But now I understand what she's going to do, right? We're not going to hit her inside a house. We're not going to hit her um, in her comfort zone or what she's doing. But it wasn't until I actually let her pull out a knife and was pretty much just like start cutting. And then in Portland, how she was cutting. It was Now that you really have exposed yourself, kind of. Because I didn't even know, to be honest, that that was the mission at the time. It wasn't until Jesus, and he's that dude. Like, if he doesn't need any help, he won't ask for any help. And she was torturing him. And once she caught him, that she kept doing it. I remember one time Jesus was, I think, the night before trying to play with her. Because Jesus is Jesus, you know. He's going to try and make everything light, minister, and all that. And she had kind of pinned him into a corner where he couldn't go anywhere. So while she was torturing him, you know, it was hurt. It was hurt. So he didn't say anything. He didn't really ask for help or anything like that. It was just kind of like, enough of this. And we can create a distraction or something like that. But we kind of never forgot, okay, now we got her. Because he wasn't the first. It became a pattern with her that wherever she went. And it's kind of going back to you know, a dude will be like, I'll never hit a woman and I'll never do this because she's a woman. Fuck all that. Knocked her fuck out because of the the amount of venom that was coming out of her. You start getting tortured by her. It's not only her demons that start attacking you. She goes into a method of pulling in as many as possible. Then you're getting tortured by her. If you're a child of God, if you're not a child of God, I don't see it going that way. So it was, yeah, she was good at what she did. And then we had decided that we were gonna let her run for a bit. Which sounds stupid, right? But we wanted to make sure her patterns stayed the same, and they do. And then she took off to New Mexico. She took off, like she runs. So it was, well, I think Jesus at that point was pretty sad about how things went. But we were kind of like, nah, it ain't gonna happen. Because what she would do, she would infiltrate and then start trying to turn anything or anyone around to her benefit. Something was happening to her, so she needed protection. She would always need protection, which didn't make sense to us. I think it was a Portland thing, which Jesus didn't quite understand, that Portland was like this. These Portland people, you can't talk to them, right? So me stepping in, I was just like, all right, fuck off, bitch. And every single time that happened, there'd be times where she'd be walking and think she was walking with Jesus. And she'd start attacking, and I'd be like, Okay. I know Jesus inside me didn't really want that, but it was also, who we're dealing with here, which was an assassin. And shit, you keep calling me an assassin? Alright.
Land flipped through several more photographs, grisly images of recovered bodies that bore Apache's signature mutilations. She's escalating, he observed, getting bolder. That's why you two are here, Davidson said. This isn't just about eliminating an enemy sniper anymore. It's about stopping the most terrifying woman in this theater before she breaks this unit's fighting spirit. Hathcock closed the folder, his expression unreadable. We'll need to establish observation posts. Cover the likely approach routes, identify patterns. Already mapped the best positions, Land said, pointing to several locations on the map. High ground here and here gives us coverage of the most likely.
The funny thing about her is anything you tell her, she uses it as intelligence. That she's like, all right, then I'm going to understand that and flip it back on you. So you really couldn't have a conversation too much with Cherie. Like, Cherie, if anybody asks me, like, was Cherie that good? Here's what Cherie had. She could pull you in, first of all. And that was based off a different spirit. Unless you were like quick to realize, hey, I'm not going into your web. No. And also, she could observe you and listen to you because it's interesting to her at the moment, because she's going to use it later. And then once she's exhausted that, she can't do much but what you have actually taught her. So if you look at Cherie, and Cherie's watched 7 years of my videos, you're looking at a woman that has stalked someone. Like when I got to Portland and Spirit leads me to check out her laptop. Hey, your pretty face is going to hell, right? I didn't think that too much as far as, okay, you really might be that gal that we were looking for anyway. So once we found her, it was pretty much put her down. Like a dog, seriously. We actually took shots at her dog over this one incident. It was her and Jesus, and it was, she had done some foul shit. And she looked at the phone. Jesus was saying, why would you do this to me? He kept saying that over and over again, like Michael Jackson or something, right? Why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? And she just fucking, no remorse or heart or anything. She said, because you threatened me and my dog. And then it was kind of like, all right, fuck you. I'll show you. If I was threatening you, what would happen, right? I even put a fucking video in front of your face. I'll let you fucking know. So, well, that was me. Jesus at the time was kind of hurt. And then every single time that she came and accomplished her missions, she was really on this, I need to destroy Jesus. So we weren't going to let that happen. Now, we rounded up because his father was pretty much kind of fed up with it, but he was there the entire time and he saw it. And he was pretty much, all right, here's how we're going to handle this whore. And he kept calling her a whore over and over again. This is a whore. This is a whore. This is not a woman of God. This is a whore. And then it became a ministry reason. Otherwise, we would have killed her. Because I think that Jesus was really not understanding this isn't the woman for him. And we had told him over and over again, this is not a good woman. So the father was kind of like, I have a plan, so let her live, which might be worse. I remember he was telling her, yeah, he told her flat out to her face, I'm going to let you live so you suffer more. And then that's the shit she did. So when Michael, are you really talking about yourself in the third person? When I caught her, it was the winger in her leg. Did that, and it like spooked her. But at the time, the Jesus side of me was more soft-hearted. So we left it at that. But we talked about it in the courts of heaven. Like, we should have just, we're not done with her yet. So, I mean, if she crawls out, we'll see.